I am busy right now with my lawyer analyzing the verdict. The sentence remains exactly the same as it was in December 2021. There were actually no changes other than stating that the evidence that we brought in that was overwhelmingly in our favor had no actual added value to what the case was. Now, we believe different. Our lawyers believe different. We have already signed on to cassation, but I will be making a public statement on the verdict itself because, in my opinion, face saving in the judicial world cannot go towards an injustice. And I think I will explain what I mean with that when I give the analysis of the verdict and how the verdict was rendered. For what they brought today in court, they didn't need 3 months to do that. So, I'm disappointed. I had hoped that justice would have prevailed, but clearly it was not to be. As long as they can shut me down, they will seek any possibility. Thank God the justice system still has one more step, and we are now preparing for that step. It is what it is right now. I may run. I will run. Let me make that abundantly clear so that nobody makes any misunderstanding for that. I was already punished for this crime. In the first instance, I had to step down as a senator. At this point in time, I will stand for re-election, and when re-elected, they cannot take me out of function until the cessation is over. So that people understand that they can vote for me because it's not a wasted vote. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of people will try to run with it from different angles. But the bottom line is, until I have exceeded all my legal opportunities, I can run for election and sit in office.
And the bottom line here is that you're appealing.
Yes, I appealed already. I appealed this morning. The appeals were filed already.
Prime Minister, electoral reform. There was much talk about this topic in Parliament and every part of the street. When you talk to people, one of the main things they talk about the electoral process on St. Martin. There was one town hall meeting held right here. After that, we heard nothing more about electoral reform. We are in the campaign season, soon to be election. Where are we on this process?
And the impending season is what actually minimized us being able to do more at this time. Of course, I had planned for multiple town hall sessions, which we will commence again. There was a previous electoral reform committee in place, so I think it would be better that we ensure that we get that committee back up and running and not necessarily rely on a minister or a cabinet to organize these types of functions. The electoral reform that we are looking to have implemented is the removal of the curtains. We weren't able to get any of the other proposals done in time for this election, so anything that is said and done right now is for another election and not the one that is upcoming. So we decided to park the discussions while we're in the electoral season, while people are geared up and working towards getting re-elected. And then I think it would then be up to the population to see what different parties put forward in terms of how they would see fit to address some of the electoral challenges. But what has come out of the sessions that we did have, which I think was very key, is that it is about people. We can legislate only so much. As a matter of fact, we don't want to legislate ourselves into a corner. So we're looking at the ways to make it more efficient, more effective. Something that came out of the survey we did, because we'd also done a survey, was that some people would want to even see elections happening at 2 levels for parliament and government, and not have the elected parliament determine who would be sitting as government. This is not something we can address right now. Our sessions will continue, of course, in 2024, and there we will be able to then project better. We've heard talks about referendums as well. So all of this will then be part of a new governing 2024-2028 program, which will then come out of whomever wins the coming elections. As you know, we are in a state now where we have also been advised not to start with anything new. You have ongoing things, you're working those out, of course, collaborating as much as possible with our colleagues within the kingdom and ensuring within the region and French St. Martin that we are doing what we can. This is all part of our trajectory 2020-2024, so we can continue with those things. But the goals that we had for electoral reform, unfortunately, are not going to be realized in time for this election, and hopefully we will have the same enthusiasm for discussions in 2024, early enough to make a difference for the election after that. Let me don't say next. But indeed, I want to encourage, since you've asked that question, Bibi, encourage the people of St. Martin, and also the question previously from Mr. Cyrillian, that it is a right that many have fought for. Sometimes when I listen to some of the rhetoric on some of the radios these days, it's as if you would seek any reason to say, well, me ain't going to vote. I got to go pick up my card. I ain't going to vote. Well, it is something that has been done in previous elections that you could come to the building to pick up. We just made it a longer time so that more persons had the opportunity to come. We set specific dates per district, and it's not a long line. People are actually surprised at how quickly they get through to pick up those cards. So I'm going to encourage you for the next 2 days to come out, pick up your cards as you wish, and if you don't, also not a problem. As of December 4th, your cards will be distributed. If you do not receive those cards, then you will still have to check back with Civil Registry as to what the situation is. We were really encouraging people who may have changed address, people who may have not received their voting cards for whatever reason last election. Those are the persons who I would encourage to come to the building so that if there's an issue, it can be rectified. Yes, we are encouraging a high as possible voter turnout. We do not want anyone's voice to go unheard. And not because I'm sitting in government am I trying to do anything to block anyone. I take part, just like any other party leader, in the sessions with the main voting bureau, even though I might have more information, myself and my president, the president of my party. So I really would like to tell people that St. Martin's election are always free, fair, and open, transparent. We invite observers to come, and that all should make use of the opportunity to have your voice be heard and subsequently hold us accountable via whether it's letters to the editor, whether it's writing to Parliament, or the town hall meetings that I, as part of my program, will ensure takes place on a regular basis, that the community gets the opportunity to voice their concerns.
RBC, we know the roles you have to play can change quickly. Whether it's a homeowner, a new parent, today's head chef, or the family chauffeur. Whatever life asks you to be, RBC is a bank for all of you. Win Christmas cash with a no-fee loan from RBC.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah. Your social and health insurances.
Questions for the Minister of ACYS. Minister, you spoke of the work ongoing at the Orania School. Can you give us an idea as to the nature of the work? You also said that there is a deadline of December 31st for the work to be completed. What provision is put in place to ensure that this deadline is met? If not, what happens?
What we have encountered after getting permission to go ahead with the roof works is that the contractor requested 30 days to get the work done. And also in the contract, it stated that the prices will increase after the 31st of December. In that way, a decision had to be made in order to give the contractor more time to work than only in the afternoon. And for that reason, a decision was to let the cycle 1, which are the lower grades, go online, stay home and go online, and that the contractor will then be able to work in the morning during school hours. And the contractor found that this was possible. It is an inconvenience, yes. It depends on how you look at it. It is an inconvenience, but the contractor have assured me that he will be able to get the job done. And the work is ongoing since Saturday, Sunday. What is also good to announce is that one of the things that had to be done at the Orania School was the installation of air codes. Now, the installation of the air codes started last weekend, and on Sunday past, GB was able to install the new fuse, the new upgrade, and now the school has enough power to be able to install the rest of the air conditions. And I believe as we speak at this moment, the other air conditions are being installed. What I will make sure is, because there was also talk about mold at the school, is that prior to going back in the classes, I will make sure that everything is clean and proper so that we wouldn't have no complaints about going back in the class. The only thing that I would wish to get done before the students come back in January would be to paint the school, but I think that's a little challenge, and maybe this can then be prepared to be done in the big vacation upcoming. I thank you.
MP, let's talk about something you recently mentioned a few minutes ago, is the poverty issues on St. Martin. That you said you will be refraining from actually putting up posters, and that one you will actually be focusing more on feeding the needy out there.
Yeah. Grace, I need to give you some statistics so that people understand what we're talking about.
Why you're doing what you're doing.
The census of the country was just done.
Correct.
Well, 40,000 people were questioned, were sent, they spoke to, in about 13,500 homes. Out of the census, 25% of the homes, so we're talking about approximately 3,375 homes, live on less than 1,625 guilders, less than $1,000 a month. Households, not persons, households. The median, which is the middle number when you put all the numbers on a stretch, the median number of the 40,000 that said they earned something was 2,750. That means 50% earns less than that. The same census came up that the cost to live in Samaritan is 3,552 guilders, $2,000. Let me start putting it in dollars so people understand.
Sure, exactly.
The cost to live in Samaritan is about $2,000. This is what a census brought as number. This is also what the anti-poverty platform was saying some time back. 50% or less, earns less than $1,500. 25% of households earns less than $1,000. Now, what does this tell you? It tells you that majority of the people live below the monies needed to live normal. SZV, 75% of the people that are employed there, and those are the people that earn 10,000 guilders or less, 75% earns less than $2,000. 75% of your country earns less than what the census said is needed to live. Now,
in all of this, you have to start saying, okay, wait, how big is a household? Household was about 2.1 persons, give and take. Now you have to start saying, okay, does this country have money? Yes and no. Now, the GDP, the gross domestic product, that's the amount of money going through your country every year, is about $36,000 per inhabitant in St. Martin. If we would give them their share of the money that go through the country, it would be $36,000 every person gets. That's right.
You did your homework.
But I just told you that 25% of the households, or about 7,000 people, earn less than $1,000. 75% earns less than $2,000. But $36,000 divided by 12 would be $3,000. But that's not the reality. So when you hear people saying, oh, we're doing good, not we, a few doing good. And when you look at these things, because remember, one of the things that we also gathered was that 25% of the country is medically uninsured. And when you talk about taxis and bus drivers, they're not insured. And the so-called SAHA that was supposed to come in because it was the greatest thing out, come January 1st. Yet the minister telling people, you got to open a company and you got to do this and you got to register your people by SSV. They can't. The law doesn't allow it.
Thank you. Nice to see you all.
He was brilliant, ambitious, controversial, and one of the most influential secretaries of state in American history.
I think we made further progress.
Henry Kissinger served Richard Nixon, Gerald Ford, and was consulted by presidents of both parties on international issues throughout his life.
Henry Kissinger has been a friend of mine.
Nixon made him a national figure, and together they reimagined U.S. foreign policy, détente with the Soviet Union, relations with China, shuttle diplomacy in the Middle East. Kissinger helped shape Nixon's policy in Vietnam and negotiated an end to the war, famously declaring success prematurely, just days before the 1972 election.
We believe that peace is at hand.
He was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize.
Nothing that has happened to me in public life has moved me more than this award.
Though his co-recipient, North Vietnam's Le Duc Tho, declined the honor. 4 years later, President Ford awarded him the Medal of Freedom. He was a master of pragmatic, big-picture diplomacy, but he had his critics, who described him as manipulative and insecure. Some called him a war criminal for his role in bombing Cambodia and widening the war in Vietnam. Born in Germany in 1923, Kissinger's Jewish family fled to America as Hitler rose to power. He became a U.S. citizen, served in World War II, and earned a Ph.D. at Harvard, where he became a professor. He caught the eye of Richard Nixon, who made him National Security Advisor, then Secretary of State, the only person ever to hold both jobs simultaneously.
There is no country in the world where it is conceivable that a man of my origins could be standing here next to the President of the United States.
But their relationship was complicated, and White House tapes reveal that Kissinger sometimes enabled the worst in Nixon.
It was a very curious relationship because we were not personally very close.
The night before he resigned in disgrace, Nixon asked Kissinger to kneel and pray with him.
And of course it was a crushing event, but I think of that evening as an experience with dignity, and it was very moving.
Kissinger was no faceless bureaucrat. He was a world-renowned celebrity.
I loved your foreign accent.
And he loved the spotlight. He was even something of a pop culture icon. After leaving government, he opened his own consulting firm, remaining active and sought after for decades. At 95, eulogizing John McCain's life, Kissinger sounded a wistful note about his own.
Like most people of my age, I feel a longing for what is lost and cannot be restored.
Henry Kissinger was a man of great accomplishment and controversy. But as he once told,
Your social and health insurance is Your social and health insurance.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
Your social and health insurances.
At RBC, we know the roles you have to play can change quickly. Whether it's a homeowner, a new parent, today's head chef, or the family chauffeur. Whatever life asks you to be. RBC is a bank for all of you. Win Christmas cash with a no-fee loan from RBC.
But above all else, Barbadians, this is our day. Happy Independence. And we must give thanks because we haven't gotten here by accident, but we have weathered some of the most difficult times in the last few years. And we stand tall and proud on this sunny day of our 57th anniversary of independence. For that, we give thanks as firm craftsmen of our faith. But as we give thanks, let us also remember that the journey is not over. And if the journey is not over, we will do well always to recollect purpose and mission. We would do well to remember the principles that hold and unite our nation together. And I ask us to pay tribute to those principles, the commitment to pride and industry in our motto, to excellence, as we have seen in the distribution of medals and awards today. But in particular, you would forgive me if I salute the Immigration Department and its leader, Margaret Innes, and the Student Revolving Loan Fund and its leader, Ambrose Johnson, for showing what is possible in the public service to cater to the people whom we serve. It is a good and right thing that we should give thanks to you and to inspire all others to believe that we, as we plow in service of this nation, can achieve excellence as we give back to our people. I want equally to recognize that beyond excellence, our commitment to social justice and social unity, to caring for each other, that these things matter not just in the affairs of state, but indeed in the daily practice of our lives as we engage with each other, family to family, friends, work colleagues, and indeed the stranger in the street. These are the principles that have sustained generations of Barbadians before us and must still do so today. As we equally remember that, we commit again to economic enfranchisement and economic resilience. Because at this very time when the world is struggling with being able to allow people simply to live in peace and simply to live on a livable planet, it becomes more and more difficult for many to sustain themselves. And our pledge to each other that we should lift people out of poverty, but equally commit to wealth, not just the earning of cash, but the generation of assets and wealth that can be passed from generation to generation. That we equally recall that caring for each other and economic enfranchisement and resilience cannot be done in a vacuum, and that the sustainable environment in which we live matters. And for those who don't remember that, ask the residents of Six Men's who previously lived on the coast and who were forced to become migrants in their own land purely because of the extent to which the ocean claimed the land on which they were born and they lived. Similarly, we commit to cultural preservation because who we are says everything about us. This is the country that when I say wah blow kill old cow, you don't have to wonder what I'm talking about. Or when we say we is we, you don't have to ask where that come from. This is our sanctuary, and this is the place we should always find comfort. And as we do that, we remember that we don't live in this world alone. And diplomatic engagement, brotherly and sisterly relations will always be necessary as we live on this planet as part of humanity. I ask us, even as we meet today, to recognize that Barbados, despite its size, not only can be friends of all and satellites of none, but capable of providing leadership beyond our size to ensure that the world can become a better place. Indeed, as we speak here today at this ceremony, word has come from the UAE that the world's nations have finally not only settled on the loss and damage fund, but the capitalization of it has started this morning in earnest. And we thank the people of Barbados for playing the role that we have played in ensuring that this most essential item of justice can help level the playing field for those of us who have become victims of the climate crisis. Will we today or next week see the capitalization where we want it? No. But it is the beginning. And as we have learned, step by step, we can ensure that justice is delivered.